Hello, everyone. How are you tonight? Just want to say hi. I just want to say hail, Comicsgate. Let me try to get something here quick before I continue. This might help. Let me go here, here. And I sure as hell don't want to make that echoey sound, guys. I don't, but let's see. Let me put it here. If there's echo sound for 1 minute, apologize. I'm going to try to here actually knock out the sound there. Excellent art. Give me 1 second, guys. Let's do this. Let me just tag this. And if it's echoing, I'm sorry, man. I'm just going to get this on there. I forgot to pin it. It is pinned, and I am out of here. I know, Enrique, but there's nothing really there. I gotta be blunt. But thanks for looking out. Anyway, how are you guys doing? I assume you didn't hear the echoes, or you did. Let me know. Happy Friday, Salty. Enrique says, don't dox yourself. Careful with showing your screen while moving through tabs. I know. I don't keep tabs open necessarily. I just go to a certain place. I basically try to knock everything off. Okay. Echo. There's an echo. Does anyone else hear it? Fio hears it, if that's how you pronounce it. Fio Amante, right? Sup, Michelle? How's it going, guys? Just want to catch up. See how everyone's doing. Okay, good. Not hearing echo. Sounds good to me. Alistair, Enrique, Michelle, Fio, Salty, Art. How's it going, everyone? If anyone's here listening, I did send out all of the original art from the last auction. I sent it out Tuesday. Wrapped it up Monday, sent it out Tuesday. You guys won't get it until Monday or Tuesday. Why? It's supposed to be 3 days to 4 days. I mean, I don't think the post office was closed, was it? I don't think so. I'm a little disappointed, to be honest. But okay, good. No echo. There's also another thing I was going to say. Yeah, those who ordered the Muhammad flip book. The flip book, which I'm going to open up right now. Give me 1 second, guys. The Muhammad, the flip book, which also, just for record, you guys can, I do have a store. If you don't know about it, guys, I do have a store. Bosch Falls, well, it's boschfalls.com. It's my website. I got my blog, I got my store, and here's my homepage. My homepage shows this. 1 second. Okay, it shows this. Let me just see here, guys. And then, you can check out some of my art here. A number of my drawings here. Cyrano de Bergerac, Tankman. I got a lot of these other drawings here. This was my proposed opening for this adaptation I was doing years ago, which fell through. And here's my store page. I also have a link to my Fund My Comic for Pigman #1. And I also, if you don't know, I have my Muhammad on the Run flip book. I should be getting it next week from my printer. Put in the order. It should be coming soon. Went through the whole proof and all that, so looks like it's good to go. I can't wait to get it in my hands. I can't wait to flip it myself. That'll be cool as hell. And then also, let me show a Fund My Comic. And then I'm going to look through some Ellis Tilth art. I got 5 backers within 1 day, within the last day, because I was on with Robert Spencer, the great Robert Spencer from Jihad Watch. Now, he's written 30. I thought he wrote 27 books. I think he's written 31 or 32, which is crazy. He's the guy when it comes to activists and writers against Islam and jihad. I've learned much from him, and I was lucky enough for him to have me on yesterday, and I promoted Pigman, talked about Comicsgate, talked about Ethan Matt Skyver and the Kings, and the chat basically, and in general as well. And it was great. Check it out. It's on Robert Spencer's YouTube channel, about an hour. And at the end, there was a little surprise, an impromptu request by Robert to ask me to draw something in particular. You can imagine what it was. Check it out, and you'll see. Check it out, guys. It's Robert Spencer, his YouTube channel. And I got a nice handful of backers here, guys. I'm up to 255 backers, $16,310, which is fantastic. If you haven't backed it, please consider backing it, guys. I would really appreciate it. It's something that it's unique out there in the comic book industry. It just flat out is, and as well as within the Comicsgate. Nothing else like it out there. Anyway, so let me see what the chat's up to. Hope everyone's doing well. Okay. I feel sure that's good enough. I never fixated on how folks pronounce it. I get it, but if you just spell it out, I appreciate it. I wouldn't mind knowing exactly. Art says, imagine if he accidentally showed an embarrassing tab like the Harley Quinn fart comic. Guys, I could explain. It's hilarious. Hey, Happy's Funhouse. Hey, Bosch, how are your stocks doing? Dark day for investments. I don't have stocks. I've never invested in stocks. I probably should. I actually thought about it yesterday. It's funny you mention it. I did think about yesterday for some capacity, maybe at some point. Hey, Lux. How are you doing? Enrique, next day delivery or after COVID is code for eventually. Yeah. What? Hold on a second. I pinned the wrong thing? The wrong link? Hold on a second, guys. If you hear it, I'm sorry. I'm going to try to get the audio knocked out. Okay, it is knocked out. Good. No, it's the correct one. Oh. I pinned someone else's comment. Okay, I see. That's hilarious. Thanks, Art. I pinned someone else's comment by mistake. That's very funny. Thanks, Art. All these little glitches, man. Feo Amante. Feo Amante. Feo Amante. Thanks, guys. Funny catch. Feo Amante. Is that Italiano? Though? Is it? Because it's a great name. Feo Amante. Great name. Or Amante. Feo Amante. Anyway, guys, just going to go through a little, check out, if you haven't seen it, check out my, okay, now I know how someone from Croatia, Yugoslavia, the former Yugoslavia and Croatia, well, she mentioned Yugoslavian animation, but she's from Croatia. She says that, excellent, Spanish. I love it. It was close enough to Italian, at least with the I don't know, the pleasure of saying it. Tonchi Zonjic, I believe that's how she said it, because I was pronouncing it Tonchi Zonjic. I don't know. I looked it up online. I heard some pronunciations. They gave me one pronunciation. This one gives me another. I can't say for sure. Robert, Happy's Funhouse. Robert loved my Pigman comic. He read it years ago. He gave me a nice blurb also. Very, very generous, because he read it years ago. Yeah, so check out the stream. It's about an hour. Just me and him going back and forth about the fact that we were almost murdered in that Muhammad cartoon contest event where I was announced as the winner. Robert was there, Pablo Geller was there, Gerrit Wilders was there, a few hundred people were there. According to Robert, it was about 300. I thought it was about 200. It was about 300. But each year that the media covered it, whenever they commemorated it in their own nasty way, it got down to 50 people within the fourth or fifth year. It'll be 10 years, guys, next month. 10 years. Literally in about 30 days, 29 days. Bretsky the Great, salute. So this is I'm just going to look through this, guys. I had no real particular thing. I just want to get online. Mention my Pigman campaign again, guys. If you haven't backed it, please consider backing it. I would love your support. It's something that, again, we're still dealing with this threat today. People can say, well, 9/11 was years ago. Yeah, it was. What, the threat has disappeared? No, it hasn't. This past week, over 200 people were murdered in the name of Islam across the world. I know we're supposed to pretend that Jews and Zionists and Israel are the great problem of the world, right? Not communism and Islam, but that's just a lie and it's bullshit. So, and it doesn't matter how many idiots also on the right entertain that, pretend they're being edgy by bringing up the Jews. Watch out for them. It's corny and cowardly, both, and of course, it is dishonest. But yeah, I'm just going to look through this, guys, just show you a little of the work of Alex Toth here. You may have seen this, you may not have seen this. I saw this years ago, and it's fantastic. Phantom of Pleasure Island. Look at this art, guys, and look at this setup. Look at that first panel. Look at this. This is brilliant. I love doing this myself. I've done it a number of times in the current project I'm working on, where you break up one larger panel into 3 or 4 panels. As you notice, that's one large panel, right? He broke it up here, 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 to draw the killer there. Yep. So this killer comes there and kills a little girl. And this character, I'm thinking to some extent, it might not be obvious, but I think it looks like Humphrey Bogart to me. At least that same type of character that he played years ago, from a detective and a PI sometimes, and so on. Hey, Katie. How's it going, Katie? How are you tonight? Thanks for being here. Yeah, guys, so this is Alex Toth at his finest. This is, I believe, probably the 70s. I would say 70s. Eerie, creepy collections. He was really going off the grid here and going off the, conventional panels here. Hi, Dan. I am. Yeah, I got... Yeah, this is great stuff, guys. Yeah, I'm halfway, a little more than halfway up to 30,000, and doing well, Katie. Thank you. Good to hear you're doing well as well. So yeah, this is Alex Toth, really experimenting here, really experimenting, and of course his impeccable drawing skills and composition. And his finished work, to me, is the finest of anyone ever. That's the key to me when it comes to his work in particular. He cared more about the finished look, I think, than any of these artists of the classic era, because, Kirby never inked his work, which is very strange to me. He never inked his work. I know he wanted to get it out there in pencil, but he's a penciler. I can't imagine just being a penciler. To me, that's one small part of the entire thing. That's one part. You could say, okay, it's not a small part. It's an important part, but it's only one part of it. The writing, the penciling, inking, lettering, coloring, so on and so on. And of course, publishing and shipping out even, in my case. Ditko at least inked the bulk of his stuff. from his mainstream work. In Spider-Man, he inked every single issue of Spider-Man. So he cared about the final look for it, which is important. But Toth, his finished work to me was the finest. And that to me, that's the key, because it's like he is very concerned with the way he's not going to be at the mercy of someone who's indifferent about his work, whether colorists or writers. And a lot of it wasn't black and white. Therefore, he has complete control over exactly how it's presented, his work. It's so important. And to me as well, it's very important for me to have my work look a certain way. And this is great stuff, man. Look at this. The heavy blacks in the background, it looks awesome. The natural gestures and movement and the shadows. Look at this, guys. Great, great stuff. And then more people were killed here in a ton of love. You have a little girl being killed in the opening. And look at this, guys. That's a bold move for any artist to commit to a paper. You know, especially, it's like a no-no when you get in the way of women's faces. You want to keep them pretty bare, pretty simple. You don't want to mess around with too much detail on women's faces. Their noses in particular. You want to have a few dots, and that's about it. You want to let it go. But Toth here, who draws this beautiful woman, was like, you know what? It's also an allusion to what goes on later. There's something about this woman. So that's not by accident. She's in heavy, heavy shadow. And it's just a bold move, man. A lot of artists would not have the nerve to do that. They wouldn't have the nerve. And of course, Toth does. He's a master. And even this, look at this. Just a natural gesture. You know, he's looking up, she's looking down. Look at this also, this guy's trying to get away. All these different types of people, the way he draws them. This guy is on the move. It's a great little action pose there. Not in a superhero kind of way, but just in a really naturalistic kind of way. Like, it's just a very elegant movement there. And there's the guy. And he added some shading here, you could tell. I don't think it's gray wash. I think it's more of a charcoal or something. That right there is a little off. That woman right there. Her neck and her face, her eyes a little too close. If I were to point anything out, that is just slightly off. Everything else great. I guess, yeah, JEC looks like Gloria Swanson, the actress. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. He goes, hello, everyone. Great interview the old Dave Bosch. You know, I have the honor of knowing Robert Spencer personally. I met him a number of times, have had dinner with him and hung out with him over the years. And he's not just a good guy and a good friend, but he's a great man who has informed us about this threat more than anyone, I would say, more than anyone. We all want to inform ourselves, but he knows it chapter and verse, literally chapter and verse. That's a big task. I don't know Islam chapter and verse. I don't want to know it chapter and verse. I want to know it enough where I can at least get in the mind of the enemy and try to tackle him in my story. But yeah, man, it was, thanks, John. Thanks for watching, John. It was great being on. I had him on a show that I was doing a few years ago twice, and it was fun to be on his show this time. And look at this, guys, also. Look at this. The tunnel in there. I love his placement of blacks. And again, he was very experimental here with the black on the woman's face before, as we saw, and now this black on this guy's back. Look at that. Boom. Just bold as hell. Just bold as hell. The silhouettes in back there. Another person was murdered. Like 3 or 4 different people were just murdered, from a young girl to a couple, and now this older guy. And look at this also. Look at this guy moving in right here. He is on the move. He is pissed. His cigar is up in the air. And then here's that killer up on a roof. And, you know, here's Toth doing the full work here, guys. He's doing the whole font on the building there. That's not a letter. That's Toth at work there. Look at his roof. Looks just right. a dirty roof because no one sees it. Things that are hidden, people don't really care if they look well or not. Uh, St- Steve Jobs talked about that in terms of I think he learned it from his father. Like there was a dresser they had or something, and the back wasn't really. It was a little shabby. His father was telling him like it's important to have everything good, son, even the back of things, even things that people don't necessarily see. And that's what he kept in mind in terms of the iPhone, the iMac computer, and the Macs and the iPads and so on. Something about that. About that. Everything counts. Everything. Everything matters, even things you don't see, but that you can see ultimately if you take a look. Look at this. And again, what an interesting shot there. Triangle panel. That's such a rare thing to see in comics, even from Toth Comics as well, but it works. It works really well. Now this, I've written a lot of dialogue at times, especially when I have talking heads in terms of the panels at the comic, the convention for the post 9/11 comics and issue, which will be issue 1 now of the Pigman. But man, this is a little too much. It seems like he saved it for here, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to get in a lot of stuff in this way. You just don't. Becomes slightly cumbersome for the reader at that moment. It's like, oh shit, And look, great dialogue. We want to read it all. I don't mind if it's a lot of dialogue. If it's good, bring it on. Tarantino. If his movies are in comic book form, talking heads will be all over the place. And if it's entertaining and good and engaging, I'm all in. This is not necessarily that. This is just basically some exposition that they had to get in to find out who did what, who was the killer, who was the murderer. You find out it was that woman actually. So yeah, that's a little hiccup there. More than a hiccup. I think it's just not pleasing to the eye as a work of art, but it's still great storytelling here. Byrne did that sometimes in the FF. And then here's Toth breaking down his work. JEC says Toth cast old-timey stars in some of his comics. Yes, the Bravo for Adventure was basically Errol Flynn. It was. That was his model for his heroes in general. Mine is James Dean. If you look at Will in Table for One, if you look at Killian and his brother in The Infidel, it's more James Dean than anything else. People say, well, it's you. Well, not necessarily. And then in my current book also, I have a few different amalgamations. It's not obvious. There's a little Anthony Hopkins, a little Clark Gable, a little Jack Nicholson, a little James Cagney for all these characters. But once you see them, guys, you won't think, oh, that's this. You won't. I just wanted something to settle in, like something concrete, something recognizable to me and possibly the reader, like an archetype, something that people would, I guess, to some extent, link to and maybe be reminded of, even though, again, it's not obvious. Hey, Daniel 11, I just watched you and Richard. It's Robert Spencer. Robert gets that a lot. He hates it. Richard Spencer is that. He's the older version of, what's his name? Nick Fuentes. He's the first Nick Fuentes, which is basically the media's attempt to try to show the right in the worst light with a piece of shit, racist. You say, I'm going to order your comic. Thanks. And I also agree with Miss Marvel, opinion you have. I'll be watching and cheering you on. Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah. Miss Marvel, That's a long story. No problem, Daniel. I just had to mention it because Robert gets a little peeved about it. I don't blame him. You don't want to be associated with a piece of shit. And by the way, also, guys, just keep his mind, guys. Richard Spencer went from supposedly being rah-rah for Trump. I don't think he ever was. I just don't think so. These guys are national socialists. They're Hitler bitches. National socialists. Socialists. That's what they are. They're not right-wing. From Richard Spencer to Nick Fuentes, they spend an inordinate amount of time criticizing the right and Trump. And now Candace Owens is saying that the Trump administration is completely compromised by Jews, and that's it. Basically, she hasn't done anything to get Trump elected, to get him to support him. Nothing. She really hasn't. She is a critic of Trump and his crew, as is Nick Fuentes, as was Richard Spencer. Richard Spencer ended up voting for Biden. And then the media had no interest in talking to him. Because remember, they tried to make him famous. They couldn't do it, but they tried. They tried to say, he's the right. He's not the right. He's the left, guys. He's the left. And from him to Jake Shields to Andrew Tate to all these rats, they're all closet leftists. They're all here to taint the right, to hurt the right. And then also one thing, right? I haven't seen the show. I will not watch the show. Adolescence, I guess it's on Netflix, where they're trying to claim that the young, very young white boys are the ones who are danger in England. It's just not the case. That's a lie. And then they said, yeah. And then they tried to say, well, yeah, they're like influenced by Andrew Tate. It's like Andrew Tate's a Muslim, guys. Whatever else you want to talk about, Andrew Tate, he's a Muslim. And even if you want to say, well, he only became Muslim, he's Muslim. That's a fact. JC said, Rich Spencer is a glowy Fed, Nick too, 100%. I believe that, yeah. I believe they are Feds. I believe they exist here in order to smear the right by their mere presence. And, Nick's, what's the name? Nick Fuentes, near the election, was praising Kamala and AOC and saying that AOC is more America first than Trump. And guys, the idiot, the drunkard, Gavin McInnes, actually believes that Nick Fuentes could be president in 20 years. It's really, really, that's what a drunk would say. I called him out for it, and he goes, hey, man, you do well, he does well, you guys both. I said, no, don't ever associate me with him, ever. And you're an idiot. And he's a pro-Israel, guy too, Gavin McInnes, but he's stupid. He'll just drink his way into just saying the dumbest things. And he has, some points at times, but I think his drunkenness just gets the best of him. It really does. And now you have Anthony Cumia, who is now back on terrestrial radio, which is a shocker. Flat out shocker. He was shocked. And it's so funny. He got his contract, right, guys? And he read it, I guess not too closely. He thought he was getting $150 like an episode. He was getting $150,000 a year for 2 hours a week, which is hilarious. That's just funny, man. But anyway, he's back on Sundays. What is it, 8 to 11, I think, Eastern time. And of course, he does his own regular show. He has a lot to say. I think he gets a little too over-preoccupied with the black violence thing. Now, not that it's not a problem, and it's, believe me, after this week, but he's always going on about it, even when it's not happening. And look, I'm not saying, guys, that if it's not happening as often as it does, you shouldn't go after it, but it gets to the point where he says certain things where you realize, I'm not sure if it's just about that violence thing. That's what I'm saying. And he has to pull back on that because I don't think he is a racist. I don't. But some of the stuff he writes, you're like, some of the stuff he posts, you're like, I don't know about that. I don't. And again, you got this poor kid in Texas being stabbed by a piece of shit savage over a seat. And then, of course, the media, the ones who acknowledge it, are still trying to say, well, it was a fight that broke out. No, it wasn't a fight that broke out. A guy brought a knife to a track meet. Why? 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 He was on the opposing team. He was sitting in the other guy's tent, looking for troubles, trying to start trouble by design, and then stabbing him right in the heart, dropping the knife in the bushes and running. That's not some guy who accidentally did something. That's a guy who planned it. So it's terrible. Terrible. Tragic. And check out Matt Walsh's episode today. I actually talked about that, a number of murders in the last few years. This out of control, anti-white, racist, black violence against whites. It is a thing. It is something that's been stoked by the media. And it's tragic because, again, the media only mentions race when blacks are the victims. When whites are the victims of blacks, they never mention race, ever. It's evil, it's racist, and it's pure leftism. By the way, I posted something the other day. I said, who's the most anti-American media? I put Chinese state media, Russian state media, Islamic state media, and then I wrote the leftist media in the U.S. Guess what got 70-something% of the vote? And I believe it's true. That's why I posted it. I said, yeah, I believe our media is the most anti-American media on earth. Sounds crazy, but it's true. Our leftist media, our anti-American media in America is the most anti-American media on earth. Nothing Trump or Elon can do well is good, according to them. Everything is suspect. Everything is dirty. Everything is bad. Yeah. Happy's Fun House. How would you make the dialogue less cluttered on that one page? Would you cut lines or just spread them around the page? I would cut lines. And again, I'm in the process of adapting something which has more dialogue, I think, than anything I've ever adapted, than anything I've ever written. And I'm finding interesting ways to break it down a little into bite-sized chews to the point where it won't be as cumbersome, for the reader to like on the page itself. Because I think some readers, look at things like, and they put pause, like, shit. I don't want to trudge through this. I want to read it. I want to enjoy it, but I don't want to be inundated with too much dialogue. So I'm going to try to find a way, because again, what I do is in my roughs, which is more detailed roughs than I've ever done in my life in this particular project, I'm writing all the dialogue in pencil. I'm writing all the dialogue in to have a good idea how much space I will need. And by the time I get to the actual digital, lettering that I'll do, that's when I do the cutting. That's when I really streamline the dialogue, economize it, get it to the point where it's a little more, it's just better. So whatever I have on there, even if it looks a lot, I'm going to cut that down to size. I just can't find myself doing that. That's like an afterthought there. It's like, I think he messed up and he didn't get enough time. He didn't give himself enough time. He didn't take enough time, actually, to, work it out. And what it does is just jumbles up the entire page, and it makes it, it loses the purity of words and pictures and leans far more towards words in here. And believe me, I think Chris Claremont would have loved to have done this in every page of the X-Men. He was very verbose, but the letters always found a way to make him look better, And here's Toth, Toth, he lettered this, and he's an incredible letterer. Even some professional letterists said he's one of the greatest letterists of all time, and that's absolutely true. Again, he's one of the greatest. Well, to me, he's the greatest comic book artist ever. Pencil, he wrote pencil, ink, letter, colored, and did all that. Even though he's colorblind, he did the presentation pieces for Hanna-Barbera for their cartoons, the detailed ones, to pitch the series. He did those all in paint, which is awesome. So yeah, I would cut down the dialogue, because even this, yes, 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 and I knew, you don't need that. You can have a strong one yes even. You don't need that. And I understand, and believe me, I'm here talking about a master. It's like people say, who the hell are you? Well, I love Toth. I think he's the finest. At the same time, I think he overdid it with dialogue here. One second, guys. I'm going to read this also. This guy in your doodles too, Bogart, Sam Spade, Philip Marlowe type. Yes, a tallish bogey was my model. Boom, excellent. Because I assumed that was the case, but I never knew for sure. I must have missed this part, guys. But yeah, clearly it was Bogart. It just wasn't exactly Bogart, like a on point model. His the facial look of him mostly very uneven, as is obvious. The persona came through a bit, yeah. And then, and I love these because you can see a little more of the detail here. Look at that wrapping around their nose or cheek. He goes, I had Joan Crawford in mind, but I lost her likeness too, working only of impressions of them. No stills photos here, didn't want them. Yet, regarding Dietrich, I know that what you mean. Old Joan, too, in most of her pics used the, I don't know what to say, goboed light across her face to focus on her big expressive eyes and close up. Her shtick? I don't see that, guys. I don't know. But interesting choices here. He did use uh, models, but he said something also. Whenever he used reference, he looked at it and looked at it and looked at it from people or things, right? And then put it all away and try to do it from memory. And there's something about that because it becomes a full blown drawing instead of looking at something. And again, I mean, I don't want to cut corners sometimes, but I got to get a likeness. I got to get a certain thing sometimes, like certain cars that I'm using from the 1920s and 30s. I don't want to guess at them. I don't. Now at this point, I can do them in shorthand. Because I'm starting to figure out the tires almost always on the back, visible to everyone. You got the real big balloon type things over the tires. You got the step in into the car, which we don't really have anymore. Um, and then different shapes here and there, but almost more or less the same. Overall, the same. It's interesting. And then you got some sports cars from back then, guys, which are phenomenal looking. I mean, they look like they projected 30 years into the future in the 1950s. It's incredible. Like the car that James Dean died in, the Porsche Spider. There's some cars in the 30s that looked similar to that. I was like, damn, that's incredible. Incredible. These really stylish, small cars. And like, am I wrong about that? I don't think so. Because I saw some people designing them. I was like, it's just crazy. Um, a man called Plush said, hey, Plush, excellent Doc Holiday tribute you posted. Thanks, Plush, appreciate it. Yeah, man. We heard he was sick. Val Kilmer, very unfortunate, very unfortunate. We heard he was sick, and it's just tragic. He was 65 years old. Um, what the hell did time go? It's like, what the hell? Val Kilmer is 65 years old. That's crazy. I just want to show it here, guys. I want to go down my feed actually and just show you some of the stuff here. But yeah, I just drew this one. I just posted this actually. It was nothing else, just the drawing. I didn't want to write anything else. I just wanted to show this as Doc Holliday in Tombstone, which was incredible performance by Kilmer. Just incredible. I think it's hands down his most indelible performance. I know he was great as Jim Morrison and stuff, but the movie itself, I couldn't really get into it. Oliver Stone, out of his mind, was making that, and you know, I think he said he considers him a god. It's like, yeah, okay, he's not a god. He's a guy, a young punk who drank himself to death. It's like, and yeah, I got like three or four Door songs on my playlist. Great stuff, Touch and all that. It's great. But this is the performance, and he was also great in the Heat as well, and Iceman. But this was his. This was the one as Doc Holliday. He was fantastic. He was so much better than the movie itself, and the movie again had its virtues and its what the hell are they doing? I'm thinking of the again. I mentioned the old day, that one thing where the Earp boys are over this like hill and they're shooting at nothing. It was like an MTV video. It looked so bad. It was like, I know that they lost the director. They fired him at some point. It was a real slog to get through the movie. But regardless, Val Kilmer gave a hell of a performance. The accent he used, the look he had. I'm your Huckleberry. I mean, it's just great, great stuff. So thanks for mentioning it, Plush. Appreciate it. And yeah, I just want to go through something here. Yeah, which one's the guy here? I can't tell, guys. Which one's the guy, girl? Salwan Momika. Remember him? Murdered 2 months ago now. For 3 months ago now. My God. 3 months ago. This is Hurl Davis. I don't know if you know about Hurl Davis. She's grotesque. She is. And she's a self-loathing female who hates females. Always her whole shtick is trashing women, Jews, and I think that's about it. Women and Jews, and she's gruesome. Just one more thing here. Yeah, this is it. So, who's the most anti-American media? And most picked leftist media in U.S. This is an image I did years ago for propaganda. Throw them into the fire they started. I think it's a good distillation of what Pigman does to the savages. I like it. And here he is in the act of throwing the savages in the fire and walking away from it. Look at this guy, this horrifically two-paid hack, Frank Luntz. He said about Cory Booker's embarrassing 25-hour whatever he was doing. This is what he said, guys. What Cory Booker did may have changed the course of political history. He actually said that. He actually said that. And someone says, does Frank Luntz think there will be hell to pay? That's funny. It's very funny. Free Tommy Friday. Ty Robinson is in prison. He's been in prison for a while now. They're trying to break him. And no matter what, guys, you can tell yourself whatever you want. You can tell yourself you won't be broken. I'm not saying you will be, but you're in actual prison. It's not like, it's like when someone says, they're just trying to, get your attention. They're just trying to hurt you when they hurt people you love, let's just say. Yeah, but they've actually crossed that line, guys. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's actually happening. It's not something in theory anymore. They're doing this. He's imprisoned. He cannot get out no matter what. And he has to hang tough. He has to. He has enough support, I think, where he realizes he can survive this. And if I were him, get the fuck out of the UK. Get out. And I mean that. Fight, but you cannot keep being thrown into prison in a country that you want to save. At that point, it's not worth saving. At that point. And again, it's not to give up on the country. There are still fighters out there, but he cannot fight while he's in prison to save his country. He can't. I also reposted my image of Salwan Momika. I said, I remember that the savage Muslims who murdered him proved his point about Islam. Proved, not provide, sorry. Thanks, Plush. Art, woohoo! Welcome to the club, Daniel. Yeah, Daniel, let me know. Appreciate your interest. You can order it at fundmycomic.com. Just look for Bosch Falston Pigman. Appreciate it. Hey, Mikey. How's it going? Hell. Daniel Levin says, Andrew Tate and Candace are the worse for conservatives. I knew Candace was trouble back in 2021. There was something dirty about her. I remember something very phony about her. Her over enunciation is something that's a big tell. When you need to enunciate every word, it's like you're trying to cover something. You're trying to hide something. Every July does that sometimes with tease. It's like, what? And then when he goes off, he loses that all, and he's trying to be some hood rat. But and also this wannabe hood rat. What's her name? Jasmine Crockett. A few years ago, you saw her very well spoken, clear, right? And now she's like, she. It's like that doesn't work. It doesn't work. Egon the Dragoncock. Hail, Bosch. Hail, Egon. Saw your appearance with Robert Spencer. Great conversation. Thanks, man. Great being with Robert. Always. Always great being with Robert. He's a great, great man. He knows his stuff like no one. Happy's Funhouse. Nick Fuentes is definitely a Fed. He should have been charged for his involvement in January 6th. Think about that, guys, also. He was at January 6th. He had a bullhorn. He was there, right? Nothing's happened to him, guys. Why not? Why not, guys? 1,500 people in prison except him? Well, what's that about? What's that about, guys? You know what that's about. But for some reason, he wasn't. It sounds like he cut a deal with the prosecutor. I would say for sure. He's a little snake. He's a little rat. I mean, look. Also, guys, just one little thing also. A little tell here. He's always wearing his suit, right? Trying to look professional on his thing whenever you see pictures or whatever. And then when he hooks up with Kanye again, he always wears the hoodie. It's like, bro, he's his bitch. It's so embarrassing. It's like, I'm his bitch. Yeah, I know. Whenever you're with him, you dress like him. It's embarrassing. You don't dress like that when you're not with him. You never do. All of a sudden, when you're with him, you try to dress like him. Yeah. Ant has no tact. I mean, that's the thing. I think he does. I think Andy Cumia is a good broadcaster, a great broadcaster, and very funny. I mean, generally funny, funnier than almost all the comedians that he used to have on his show. I mean, truly. I think Patrice O'Neill said something about Cumia where he says, I forgot how he put it, but he put it in a slang way. He goes, he is the fastest to funny than anyone he's ever seen. Like he is the quickest to being funny, the quickest to funny than anyone he's ever seen. And that's saying a lot because Cumia is not a stand-up. He's not a comedian, even though he has tried to do some, from what I gather. A friend of mine actually saw him. He enjoyed it. But he's not a comedian per se. He's just funny, a generally funny guy. And I understand, he is saying, no one could argue of the gist of what he's saying about the violence in the black community, especially from younger black men and, women, clearly. But again, it gets to the point where you're like, all right, is it just that? I hope it is, but sometimes it makes you question it. Sometimes it makes you question it. And I think he has since settled in and wants to be now. He wants to stay on X. He wants to stay on ABC radio. So let's just say I don't think he's going to sabotage himself too much by going to a point where you got to question it even more now. Like, is this just about that actual issue or is it something flat out racist? I don't think so. I don't. But if it keeps going the way he was going, I think I wouldn't blame people for seeing that actually. Yeah, Mikey. Yeah, the media makes mistake for not covering that poor kid. I mean, it's. Whew. And then unfortunately, the follow goes out there. I forgive him. He. Shut up, man. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Go mourn your kid. Be with your wife. Be with your son. Tell the media, get away. We need our privacy. Don't go out there and start spouting this nonsense. Love thy enemy, turn the other cheek stuff. Don't do that. The guy just murdered your son in cold blood. Shut up. I can't stand that. And he's being praised for that? Fuck that. Fuck that. It's terrible. It's actually, this guy's an evil piece of shit who murdered someone and it looked like it was planned. Let's just say that. It looked like he was looking to start a trouble bringing a knife there, sitting in a place where he's not supposed to be, and looking for any pretense to plunge that knife. So I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I can't stand it. That kind of talk is just fucking evil. That's not natural either. It's not a natural form. Uh, you got to be honest with who you are and what you feel. And don't pretend that, well, I'm going to say this because it sounds good to my fellow Christians that I forgive him and all that. Enough. Enough. I can't stand this. The knee-jerk reaction to try to prove that they're moral and good. It's like, you are better than that piece of shit. You don't have to say these things. Your son was just fucking murdered. Have some decency. Shut your trap at least. Don't let him off the hook. You think the defense won't use that? Hey, even his father said, no, don't give him that. They're going to weaponize it. Don't be an idiot. Mourn your son. Understand this is a horrific tragedy in your case, horrific tragedy. Respect your son. Respect his life. Don't worry about that piece of shit. He'll get his. Art says a lot of it is in the schools too. Too many radicals brainwash children, for sure. No doubt about it. It doesn't come out of left field. I mean, there is a consistent stoking of this by the media, by the Nazi-crats, by the racist Nazi-crats who cannot wait to basically. I mean, guys, if it happens over and over and over and over again, it's not by accident, you know. JEC says if that's supposed to be the climax, maybe expand those panels out to an entire page to let it breathe. Yeah, that's for sure. And that's what I'll be doing with this one page actually in my remastered Pigment #1. I got a little too wordy on one page, and I made it better from the digital to the print version, and I will now bring it even further to an entire extra page and showing more of the convention. So again, this is a time for me to look at it and say, how can I improve it? You can always improve it, So that's my time now where I'm going to do that. A few other things. The first time Pigment flies, it's a big deal. I shouldn't have it on a small panel as I did. I'm going to expand it. Double page spread, beautiful clouds, him coming through, a few different panels on one, like a single shot, but break it down like 3 or 4 panels, him coming closer, boom, in an epic fashion. Thinking in terms of Walt Simonson Thor style, that kind of impact, visual impact. Simonson's an all-time great. I mean, he's just power. He's like, as close to Kirby, I think, as any modern artist. Daniel says, we need more Bosch Falsons, and I'm sure that's very kind of you. Thanks, Daniel. And I'm sure people tell you, but you need to get on with a positive. Hey, man, I reached out. I don't know. They know of me. I drew them both as Muhammad, David Wood, and Apostle Prophet. For someone actually on here bought 3 copies of my Peaceful Death Threats, which I have 4 copies left, by the way, guys. If you're interested, go to my store, boschfalls.com. I have 4 copies left of these books where I collect death threats. It was 400 death threats per each volume, around 400, and I can make 2 or 3 more volumes at least, if not 4. I've had thousands, and I only use the quote unquote best death threats, which means the ones that they're boring. They bore you out of your mind after you get them as much as you do. So anyway, so a guy got those because I offered to draw Muhammad cartoons with those books if they purchased them. So he ordered 3, and he asked me to draw them in certain ways. I said, how about if I draw them as mine? He goes, perfect. So I did. They got them. They know of me. I sent a super chat to Robert and David recently. So, I'm game if they are. I'm game. You and Robert are true American heroes. Jahal Watch is great. You're very, very kind, but I will say this, just to push back a little, Daniel. My natural reaction to 9/11 was to create an anti-jihad superhero. My natural reaction a few years later to the Muhammad cartoonist in Denmark who were threatened with murder for it was to draw Muhammad. I assumed more Americans would do that and more Europeans would do that, more people from civilization would do that. They didn't. So just because most people are cowards doesn't make me out to be something, you know, that I'm not. And again, I'm not being modest. I'm not a modest guy. I'm not. I know my value, but at the same time, way too many cowards out there. And it's not like, oh yeah, I'm something because they're cowards. No, they're cowards. That's the problem here. The cowardice. It's not, you know, more than that. It's the cowardice, and that's why a part of me continues doing it because I gotta make up for the deficit in a lot of ways. I've drawn Muhammad over 600 times now. You know, it's getting up to 700. I have 4 books filled with Muhammad cartoons. I have another volume of Muhammad cartoons. I can do it now, probably. I can publish it now, but I got 2 other things I'm working on now, so maybe that's later on. But you're very kind. I don't mean to dismiss that, and I appreciate it. At the same time, it's like too many cowards out there. That's the problem. That's the real thing. Um, Happy's Funhouse says, I totally feel that moment of oh shit when I look at a Chris Columbus's page full dialogue. It's almost like reading a novel, but I actually kind of like that in some cases. It's a weird balance. That's the thing. When we read a novel, we expect it. It's all text. It just seems more when you're reading a comic book because it should be a balance of words and pictures. It should be, and more drawings, ideally. And that's why. So when it's overdone on one side, particularly dialogue, it's like an eyesore and it's a quick like, oh shit. But again, if you like the dialogue, again, I love dialogue and I love great dialogue, so I don't mind it personally. But you still got to find a elegant way to put it into the book. There has to be a better way than just boom bombing the reader with it. It just has to be a better way. And I mean, sometimes you can have a lot of dialogue. I have a lot of dialogue, in the courtroom scene that I have in the Pigment comic. There's a courtroom scene. There's a lot of dialogue, so I can't stretch it out too much either. The pages, but I got to figure out a way to refine it. JEC says Greta Garbo lighting. She has always lit like she was always lit like that in that panel. I said Swanson, I meant Garbo. Okay, interesting. Happy's Funhouse. Did you see Val Kilmer in Top Gun 2? I did. It was a cute cameo, but I was horrified to see how bad his condition had gotten. It's tragic, man. And his voice has ended up in a high-pitched, strange, I don't know. Oh, wow. Art says Tombstone's out in 4K soon. I didn't know that. I got as good as it can be digitally, the 4K, but that's one to get for his performance, period. Again, I love, Kurt Russell and all that, and some of the guys are good in there. Even Billy Bob Thornton in there plays a big fat guy. It's so funny. But Val Kilmer owned it. Michael Biehn was also in there. He was good. What's his name? The other guy, a great actor, Powers Booth, very good actor. He was in Agents of Shield, and he did a hell of a job, guys. He played a Hydra guy. He did a great job, even in that. He's good in anything he does, and he has a very distinct look also, and those dead eyes with that good voice, great voice. But still, it came down to Val Kilmer's performance. Dominated the movie, owned it, made it far better of a movie than it would have been without his performance. Hail, Henry. Listening while working out, very, very cool. Happy's Fun. Do you listen to music while you work? It depends. When I'm writing, never, ever. I need full focus. And when I'm composing pages, no. When I'm inking, definitely. Anything goes. Talk radio, music. It's not, everything is there already, meaning the hard mental work has been done already. Then it's just a point of refining with bringing out the blacks in there, basically. So In the composition stage, no. In the writing stage, absolutely not. But in the lettering stage, well, even the lettering stage, no, 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 because I need to focus on there also. Because what I'm doing is I'm refining the dialogue. I can't have it mess around. So basically, mainly when I ink and when I color, that's when I can listen to music and anything else, because it's just not as high focus as the others. And it's people could argue that as well, but you know, it's not as refined, high focused concentration that you require for the other aspects of the creation. Color is just it's more of a feeling than anything else, and you want to extract as much emotion from the page with the color as you can. Also, it's not just color. You want to use it as an emotion also. Um, so yeah. JEC says the Doors movie plays like a comedy if you watch it today. Val made a good Jim Morrison. He did. He did the best he could. I mean, he did a great job. He did exude, Morrison. Um, and then you have people like, well, it didn't look just like him. Well, he's not him, but he did it as good a job as he could. It's like James Franco played James Dean. He did a good job. He's not James Dean exactly, of course, but he did a good job. Austin Butler as Elvis. It's probably arguably one of the best, performances of an icon that you've ever seen. He gave it everything he had, and he sounded like him, he acted like him, he looked like him, and he sang like him. He sang evil. If you're looking for trouble, you came in the right place. He sang that, and it's perfect. I mean, it's crazy. He actually sang that and recorded it. It's on the album also. It's crazy. Uh, I don't get it. Mikey goes after Henry Thune. Nobody cares. Preachy simp. I don't get it. Because you're working out. I guess that's a joke. A little crack. I don't know. Daniel Lemon says, I think about Tommy every day. Yeah, man. Britain has lost their jihadis, and it's going to take great men to get it back. It is lost currently, tragically. It doesn't mean it has to be lost forever, as you note here. Because one election of hardcore great men can change it. Can change it. Um, you need men like Tommy, and even people who like Tommy. Well, he's the wrong guy. I'll take Tommy over anyone that they have right now. Anybody, anybody. He will fight for the country. You know, you understand that what it needs more than anything else is a bulldog who will fight over every little thing. Um, make evil pay. Make the English safe again. Put them first. The citizens. It's tragic beyond belief. Kilroy, oops, link is pinned. What does that mean? Kilroy? I don't know. You tell me. Chopper, nice one, Bosch. I just put my cash down for Pigman. Thank you very much, man. I want cover one. Thanks. I mean, it looks the business. Can't we appreciate it, Chopper? Very much so. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate your support, guys. I really need it, and I appreciate the hell out of it. It's something that, again, this is I don't know. To me, it's not. It shouldn't be a tough sell. It might be. I don't know. I've been trying to get people in this thing for years now. Into a story where I'm telling them the truth, but I'm trying to do it in an entertaining way as well. It's a story in the end. It's not a tract. It's not a political tract. It's not. It's a story, but it's an informed story where I'm getting the truth about this enemy out there in an engaging, entertaining way as I can. Appreciate it, Chopper. Thank you, man. Henry Thrun says, I used to like Candace. It amazed me how she and others warned about falling for propaganda, but then don't question anti-Israel propaganda. Yeah. And again, also, and not just that, but they say nothing about Islam or praise it to the hilt. No. Art says, woohoo, chopper dropping. Survive Infinity 0088 Bosh. Hey, man, hell. Art says, Henry, Candace has always been iffy. I remember when she had a super woke YouTube in the early days. Yes, she did. Years before the term woke. She absolutely did. Yes, she did. And she was gremlin looking. She was hurting on a physical level. She was. And now she's all decked out with her silk shirts and stuff. It's like, that's also overdoes it. You're a goddamn podcaster. You're not on the airwaves. You're not out there. You're really not. And I understand people are trying to put their best foot forward. I get it. I'm not putting it down for that. But it seems far too much for something that she does. It's just far too much. I don't know, guys. There's a little war here between Mikey and Henry. I'm not sure what's going on, but you guys work it out. JEC says, or at least from Mikey to Henry. JEC says, include all 3 volumes of your death threats as a PDF as a stretch goal. That'd be funny. I don't know. I mean, I got 2 volumes so far, by the way. I can do 2 or 3 more, is what I'm saying. I don't know. I could. It's one of my more popular books. I could add volume 1 actually as a stretch goal, give it to everyone. I could do that. You know, I could do that. That's something to think about. I had this idea for a short story, and it's interesting. If you heard the interview with Robert last night, he mentioned the fact that he has 2 books coming out soon. One of them deals with an issue that I'm trying to deal with in Pigman. It's one of the worst jihads, one of the worst forms of jihad that's going on across the world. And I'm going to have Pigman target it and deal with those bastards head on and kill them. And that might be a stretch goal worth doing, because it'll be an extra comic, like a mini comic, maybe 10 pages, a very specific focused form of jihad that he hasn't dealt with yet. That could be interesting. Hey Roy, how's it going, Art of Roy? Bosch, have you seen what's going on in Canada with McGill University being invaded by Islamists? I know that they had their problems. This is something specific. I don't know about this specific thing that you're mentioning here, but that sounds terrible. But Canada has invited this trouble. They really have, at least the politicians and the scum media. They really have. It's terrible. I got to look into that, Art of Roy. JEC says Powers Booth was really good in that. Jim Jones, yes. TV miniseries he did in the early years. Great actor. He passed away a few years ago also, unfortunately. Everything he did was good. Powers Booth was very good. Very, very strong actor. Art of Roy says, Bosch, you can set the launch bar to vanish until you mouse over. You can set the launch bar? I don't know what that means, Art of Roy. Sorry. I don't know what that means. Apologize. JEC, Timothy Chalamet made a good Bob Dylan. I've been watching little bits of that as I'm going. I know it's not ideal. You just sit through movies. I can't. I can watch for a half hour, maybe sometimes while I'm doing something, and then I gotta get back to work or do something. I can't sit through 2 hours flat out. I just can't. But he's very good. You get a lot of shit. If you're relatively good looking and young, you get a lot of shit. It's unfortunate. Like, look at a guy. He's also a very good actor, guys. He's a very good actor. And he's got some strength about him also. And he's got a good attitude. So, I'm looking forward to what else he's doing out there. Richard Gradwell. Hey, Richard. Richard says, it's not a tough sell, and they're damn good books, Bosch. I love The Infidel. Thank you very much, Richard. Appreciate that, man. I really appreciate it, Richard. Thank you so much, man. I hear many things, good things about my comic from people. They love it. I don't hear people who hate it. You know, if they do hate it, I don't hear from them. I don't know why. I imagine they would. Hey, Doc Brewski, thanks a lot, man. A super chat from Doc Brewski. Hail, good sir. Hail to you as well, Doc Brewski. Much appreciated. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much, my man. Henry Thrun, gotta run. God bless and good night. Take care, Henry. Be well. JEC says PDFs are free. That be a baller move to include a book full of death threats you got from making the book the backers are getting. I mean, it's interesting, you know. It's something to think about. I guess so. I could put both volumes into one. It'll be 160 pages probably, or if not more, because what I do in my books. Let me show you guys. Look, quick. I sold out of volume 2 of Peaceful Death Threats. I sold out of them. So this is Peaceful Death Threats. Muhammad on the cover with a pink turban, a pink dress up. You are so dead. Peace. And then on the back, you know, instead of kick me, draw me. And this is my first volume, and I show. There's a reason why I have average everyday Muslims on the inside front cover that says peace, because these death threats are by average everyday Muslims. Doctors, engineers, businessmen. I get actual letters from businessmen telling me they want to give me as much as I want just for me to stop. I got a few of those offers actually. And I got things like this. I put Muhammad. I drew myself as Muhammad. I drew the Flavor Flav as Muhammad with a Hitler mustache and a crescent, you know, gold chain. I drew a lot of celebrities here. Grand Tarkin as Muhammad. And again, I also roast them as well. Napoleon Dynamite as Muhammad. And when one of the death threats gets a little too close to his head, it punctures his head. It makes him bleed. This guy punctured his elbow. And then I roast them also in the red whenever I can. Some, you know. This one guy says, Aslan Shah says, Bosch Foston, you are the shit. I said, I'll take the first line alone. But he meant to say, I am shit. You know, he just, you know, he's illiterate. So, Uncle Sam as Muhammad. And then also there's some Muslims who think that making me as some kind of zombie hurts me somehow. You know, silly. Al Sharpton as Muhammad. So what was I going to say about the point? Okay. In addition to, I always have intros, pretty long intros, right, to my books to set the stage. That's the first page. And then also I have essays at the end as well. Here's the last page, Muhammad as a ballerina. And I make the point here also, which is why I put the average everyday Muslims in the inside front cover. I said, I'll have the last word. I hope by now, dear reader, that you appreciate the fact that the problem is not so-called Islamic extremism, but Islam and its bloodlust culture. If you can't imagine threatening people as these average everyday Muslims threaten me, then that should be a clear sign of how far removed Islamic culture is from the West, from civilization. Only savages, unfit for civilization, would threaten to murder and then murder over cartoons. This has to be ended. It has to be. We cannot tolerate this. And then I got this also, like, is one page here, a very short take from Bassam Tibi, who's a Turkish Muslim living in Germany, rejecting Sharia and jihad, but still claiming to be Muslim, which is bullshit. But he wrote this. He goes, those who resist Islam cause wars and are responsible for them. That's a concise way of putting it, and it's. I also drew this as well. If you notice, twin towers like building blocks, twin towers with a peace sign, but of course it's something else. You know what it is. And then I wrote this article called Muslim Roulette about all the different types of Muslims that we have to, you know, we don't know when they're going to strike. We can't tell the difference between the quote unquote extremist Muslims and the passive Muslims. We can't until it's too late. So we are playing a game of Muslim roulette. Here's Muhammad with his peace symbols, right? And then the shadow with the truth. So yeah, guys, so that could be interesting, JEC. It could be. Maybe I will consider. Egon Dragoncock says, get Paul Ravoche over there. Stat. That's funny. Art of War says it's going on right now or was today. Okay. I got to look into that. I was a little off the grid today for a few hours, so I will check that out, man. Thanks, Art. Art says a PDF of all the hate he got during his campaign. That's right. Also, that they keep coming. Also, I had to block a number of Muslims today. They were just, oh man, it's tiresome. JEC says, yeah, if it's out of print, if you include it has a PDF as a stretch goal, maybe you'll raise some interest in new printing. Maybe, because I got 4 more copies of this one. The volume 1, volume 2 is out of print now. Islam Bitches is out of print. Propaganda is out of print. I got you guys clean me out. Comicsgate, you guys definitely clean me out. It's awesome. Daniel Levin says, or Levin, sorry. Did you hear Oliver Stone and his son on PBD spouting stuff about Jews and money? It was pretty gross, and of course, no pushback from that scumbag. PBD sucks. He absolutely sucks. He's a whore. He's a clickbaiter, moneymaker, who will say anything, except the truth. I'll have anyone on also. Kilgore says they are the same. I don't know what you're talking about, Kilgore. Chopper says, true that it is not a political track, but nevertheless it is an issue that's threatening our society and no one wants to touch it. So respect, everyone should do it their way. You are doing it, so you got to do fan. Thank you, Chopper. Much appreciated, man. Yeah, that's the thing, it's like I can't do what Robert does. That's not my thing. Robert can't do what I do. It's very unique unto ourselves. This is his way of fighting it. This is my way of fighting it. I'm trying to tell the truth about this enemy in an interesting and entertaining story in a comic book form. I love comics. That's why it had to be comics. If I was to take this on, it had to be comics. But guys, thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate it. Let me make my last pitch for Pigman while I'm on here. I try to pitch it every time I'm on the live stream. It works out pretty damn well. So yeah, guys, I have 255 backers, $16,310. Here's the gist of my comic. The Islamic background of twins comes to the forefront of their lives on 9/11, which is echoed by the comic book within Pigman versus Super Jihad. I'm an Eisner Award nominee, a Russ Manning Most Promising Newcomer Award nominee. I debuted my first book, Table 4, in 2004. I created Pigman not long after 9/11. He appears in my comics and books. I've written, drawn 7 books. I've written articles and have drawn cartoons for Breitbart, PJ Media, Jihad Watch, Front Page Magazine, and the Limbo Letter. You can catch me on Rumble, YouTube, and X, Facebook. They knocked me out of there. I can't get in my account, unfortunately, because I want to promote this on my account, which I have 12,000 followers on. That sucks. I want to have as wide a net as possibly can have with the following that I earned, and they won't let me get in there. Yeah. I have 5 different covers, guys. Here's the gist also about this campaign. When 9/11 hit, my Muslim background came to the forefront of my life, and I knew I would respond to the atrocity with my art. So I thought about my Muslim background, what we were taught to hate, and I came up with the idea of Pigman as he's the last thing in the world that the Islamic enemy would want to face. An ex-Muslim who's big, ruthless, and who wears pigskin leather to exploit their bigotry. And then there's the story within the story of twin brothers, one a recovered Muslim, one a born-again Muslim. The recovered Muslim Killian Duke is the cartoonist behind the Pigman comic book, and the born-again Muslim Salam Duka becomes his archenemy, echoing Pigman's archenemy Super Jihad. If this sounds and looks interesting to you, I can move on to Pigman number 2 and further. And now some details about Pigman number 1. This is a relaunch of my longtime series, The Infidel, featuring Pigman, which is now simply titled Pigman. Issue 1 will include both issue 1 and 2 of my old series, but it will be remastered, where I will be going through the comics page by page and improve them in drawing and dialogue, and I will also be adding more moments, scenes, and pages to the issue, as well as new covers. This is an opportunity for me to introduce Pigman to a new audience in Comicsgate, and I'm very much looking forward to continuing my series with your help. If this campaign goes well, I can move on to issue number 2, and then by issue 3, it will be all new material that no one has ever seen. And I hope to finish up the series with issue 6, and then wrap it all up in a pigskin leather-bound hardcover. And below are 9 pages from my comic book, which may or may not be changed from here to print, but I'll see. I think these pages are a good way for you to get a good idea about my comic book without giving too much away. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope to gain your support. Box Foston. Update, new cover, and this is my 5th cover. And I am leaning towards making a double-page spread cover. Action scene of Pigman surrounded by jihadists. And yeah, probably Muhammad will be there too, because I always put him in there. Like there was a stealth Muhammad cover I did for my old Pigman number 1, The Infidel featuring Pigman. It was actually it was Muhammad that Pigman was grabbing the beard of. It was a stealth Muhammad cartoon. So, hail Jimmy, how's it going, Jimmy? Pigman number 1, the jihadist's worst nightmare. Here's Osama bin Laden. Here's the 9 pages I mentioned. You get a pretty good idea of my art and what's going on. Pigman's first appearance in the comic book, taking on jihadists directly. You got the argument between the twin brothers, and it transitions from their story. It's all in black within the gutters, and it's drawn in pen. Well, it's inked in pen, and the Pigman parts are inked in brush, just to differentiate the two. And the Pigman panels are wide open, white, within the gutters. Here he is here. And then I got all these extras here. I got Pigman commission, original art. I have some sketch covers. You can also get my first graphic novel here as well. It's part of this campaign. 21 years old now, which is hard to believe, shocking to believe, actually. It's crazy, but people asked me to put it on there, and I happily did it. Yeah, it's cool. Because it's out of print, so I'll have to get a new printing for that. A trading card, Submission Impossible, like Mission Impossible, which is also part of this I Want It All pack. The trading card, the 5 covers, the t-shirt, the poster, the print, the war paint print. And this also, guys, this is, let me just break it all down. This is Pigman's chess symbol. And it's September 11th. September 11th, and also 9/11. And then these 2 dents make a 3. Make a 3 of this size, so it's 93. Flight 93, if you remember that. The one that was supposed to hit the Capitol building that was stopped over Pennsylvania. And then 1993 as well, the first attack on the Twin Towers. And then, the traditional S for Superman. And also, he's a capitalist pig. So it's capital, it's a $sign. And then I have, I can't go, okay. One second, guys. And then here's a digital copy as well. You can get all 5 covers in one package. This is a Pigman hard index card drawing. Pigman profile. All the covers are different. A close-up of a profile. Here he is vowing to end jihad with a tombstone of the Twin Towers. Here's all the 4 characters. Salam Duka, Killian Duke, Pigman, Frank Warner, and Dr. Muhammad, Super Jihad. Pigman war paint. The war paint is, of course, jihadist blood. And here's Pigman taking out 2 jihadists in one shot, breaking a guy's neck, punching that guy to death. And that guy's playing dead. I'm sorry. He's breaking a guy's neck, punching that guy to death. That guy is playing dead right there. That guy's running for his life. He's the most yellow of them all. That guy with his tongue out, his eyes bugging out. The guys with the Kalashnikovs are shaking. They're scared shit. He is bulletproof. It does hurt, but he is bulletproof. That's my pitch, guys. I do appreciate it. And here, just in short, this is a different kind of war comic. We know about war comics, but this is a different kind of war comic. Culture war, political war, philosophical war, media war, brothers at war, and war on a battlefield. This is about recovered Muslims versus born-again Muslims. And the recovered Muslims are on this side, Killian and Pigman, and the born-again Muslims are on this side, Super Jihad and Islam. This is something that I had to do after 9/11. And it's been going on for a while now. I had it sidetracked for a number of years. Started again, back and forth. Now I'm going to start it, issue 1, and finish it, issue 6. And then again, in the end, a hardcover, pigskin leather bound, it'll be Islam proof and Muslim proof, which is funny. They can't even review it. Daniel Levins, can't wait to read Pigman, and thanks for responding to comments. Absolutely. I owe it to you guys, just being here. I do appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much for being here. Always appreciate your give and take. And it's a pleasure. It's my pleasure. Chopper said, it's great, Bosch. I will do my bit to spread it around as much as possible. Keep doing what you do. I'm also predicting that Pigman blows up. Or I know, you know what I mean. Issue number 1 becomes incredibly valuable. I think it will. I do. And it's so funny. When I won the Muhammad Cartoon Contest, it became an international news story. And I got cousins in Sweden and Europe, and some of them knew me years ago, and they said, "I knew it. I knew he was in Blow Up." I was like, as a jihadist, but they meant blow up, as in become big. I was on television. I was on Fox News. I was invited to be on Good Morning America and on CNN, MSNBC, CBS, NBC, ABC, all these channels, right? But when Greta Van Susteren reneged on showing my Muhammad cartoon, I said, you know what, guys, you want me on, you're going to show my cartoon, or I'm not going to be on. That's the only reason why you want me on. So, and they all, said no. They said, oh, no, we can't do that. I said, then I can't come on. And then here comes John Stossel, his producer. We want you on. I said, okay, but are you show my cartoon? He said, yes, we will. I said, really? I said, I know that all the others said they would. They goes, no, we will. And they did. It's awesome. Check out my channel, guys. If you can like it, if you can like this episode on X and on YouTube, I would appreciate it. If you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, would much appreciate it. And also check out all my videos. I got 100 and something videos now, a lot of live streams. I have breakdowns of Alex Toth, of a lot of the, of these different artists. I just did a full review of Daredevil Born Again and also Batman Year One, if you want to check it out. But don't check out my thing until you read the series. I would recommend that. And also another thing, what was I going to say? I forgot, but check it out, guys. I would appreciate your support, as always. Chopper says, wow, that is deep symbology. Yep, if I had a bit more cash, I wanted the Mission Impossible card. Yeah, it's, thank you. I mean, get it when you can, if you can. I would really, really appreciate it. It's a fun card, definitely is. Submission Impossible. He's there, bloody and battered. These guys here also, he's cornered at the edge of the cliff. It's a literal cliffhanger from the first part. Jumps off, and they jump right after him to their deaths. As long as they kill him, they're good. Some of them actually, they think twice and they start to back off. Art says, "Je suis Charlie." Okay, then draw as they did. Exactly. That's it. Never ever wear Je suis Charlie shirt if you don't draw Muhammad. They died. You at least give them their due. At least give them their due. I don't want to see idiots out there. Je suis Charlie? Huh? My pen's up in the air. No. Put it down on paper. Draw Muhammad. If you haven't seen my interview with Robert, it was impromptu. He asked me to draw Muhammad at the end. I did happily. It was a great cap off to a great interview, a discussion more or less. That's what it was. Guys, thank you very much. Thanks for being here as always. Always appreciate you guys being here. Love your give and take. And back Pigman, I would really appreciate your support. I do need it. Without you, it doesn't get done. It doesn't get out there. So thank you very much, guys. Be well. You guys take care. Until next time. Best.